So once it's done on the stand, verified everything's good. All the wiring will get stripped off of it, and it'll get power washed with the intake on, valve covers on, coil packs off, pull the alternator and bracket off the front, wheel it outside, power wash it, get it nice and clean and spick and span. And from there, oil pan gasket will happen with the pan we need for whatever vehicle we're swapping it into, whatever vehicle I'm swapping it into, I guess. Camshaft will be installed, a new timing chain, high volume oil pump, rear main. This is how I prep to do the covers and everything. Not everybody shows this, but I'm going to show it because I think it's very important. So we take a factory harmonic balancer, sand the inside of it down to where it actually slides on the crank. So it slides in there, and that'll hold your side to side for your seal. Then I'll stick probably 2 bolts on it, tighten them down just barely even hand tight. Then I'll tap until this is square with the bottom of the block. Once that's square with the bottom of the block, I use OEM gray. When I set the gasket on both sides here, I use shellac around the perimeter of it. And the shellac is just because the factory machining isn't that good. And same thing is done with the rear, except for the crank output is on that side to center the seal, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to line up the flush on the bottom. Once those are both on with 2 screws, barely even hand tight, just so in case there is a variance in it a little bit, and you can tap it and get it good. When you set the pan on the bottom, then put the pan on the bottom, verify everything's good while OE gray is still setting up, and tighten your fronts down. Like I said, you need to be very careful watching these because the covers do move when you tighten the bolts. So check everything, make sure it's good, tighten it up, you're good to go. Yeah, so then it comes to there. And that's ready for vehicle to show up at this point in time. But remember on my last video I mentioned about washing them or finding a really clean motor. Be cautious of that, because I had a customer paid $1,800 for the entire vehicle, thought it was one heck of a deal, and turned out it was either a flood vehicle or they previously washed the engine before they parked it, and it rusted out a couple of cylinder holes. And, I wasn't going to start that engine with rusted out cylinder holes, so that's how that went. And it sits here now. This is going to be a turbo build for him. But yeah, the exhaust gaskets, we know they leak, so if you wash them, you will get water behind them. Same for the intake gasket. We know they're prone to leak, so after you wash it, you will get water in it, especially with the power washer. You know the valve covers are prone to leak. If you go and just wash it, you will get water under the valve cover. So it's very important to start it and make sure you run it after you wash it. Just don't go set it and wait for the car to get done and ready for the motor. Don't do that. It's not good. So very important to seal it up. There's another picture of the vessel. I'm trying to get all this information, but it's hard without getting some notes beforehand for you guys. So like I said, the oil pressure gauge is on this side of the valve that feeds the engine passage. So like I said, you got a Schrader valve here to charge it with oil, to charge the vessel with air on top of the oil. So whatever vessel you decide to make, I usually just fill it 1/3 of the way up. Then hook it up and hand rotate the motor with the spark plugs out until you see oil at every push rod or at the gauge. Some people will just go to the gauge, but you know, if you get a customer that spends $10,000 on the engine or more, sometimes you got to take the time and get it right, you know. So just take the time and get it right.